Thank you. I appreciate it.
Am I using this one?
Yeah, that's on.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Shelton Vineyards. I'm Mandy Hauser, co-owner of Shelton Vineyards, and on behalf of my family who are here with us today, my mom, Sandy Shelton, my brother, Chip Shelton, and my husband, Todd, as well as our wonderful team we have here at Shelton Vineyards, thank you all for joining us as we celebrate the conclusion of North Carolina Wine Month and recognize the incredible growth and success our state has in the wine industry. I especially want to thank Governor First Lady Stein, Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture, Dr. Joe French, and partners from Visit North Carolina, members of the General Assembly, and all the growers, winemakers, and industry leaders who are here with us today. Shelton Vineyards was founded with a vision that many people at the time thought was impossible. The vision was that North Carolina could become a nationally recognized wine destination producing world-class wines. 26 years ago, my father, Charlie Shelton, and uncle believed deeply in the potential of this region, not just for growing grapes, but for building an industry that could strengthen the rural communities, support agriculture, and create tourism opportunities for generations to come. What they were trying to build was always bigger than one winery. They believed in creating an industry. That vision helped inspire partnerships and investments that continue to shape North Carolina today, including the establishment of the Shelton Badgett North Carolina Viticulture and Enology program at Surrey Community College. That program has become one of the most important training grounds for vineyards, winemakers, and industry professionals across the Southeast, and has helped elevate both the quality and professionalism of North Carolina wine production over the years. When you look at where we are today, it is remarkable to see how far this industry has come. Over the last 26 years, North Carolina wine has experienced tremendous growth, not only in the number of wineries and vineyards across the state, but in the quality and recognition of the wines being produced here. None of this happens alone. I also want to recognize and thank the members of the North Carolina Wine and Grape Council for their leadership and service to this industry. As a council member myself, I know firsthand the amount of time, passion, and collaboration that goes into supporting growers and producers across the state. Thank you all again for being here and supporting the North Carolina agricultural and rural communities. And now it is my great honor to introduce a strong supporter of North Carolina agriculture, tourism, and rural economic development, our Governor Josh Stein.
Hello, everybody. Mandy, thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you and your family for hosting us. And I want to apologize, everybody, for the noise. I know the bird chirping is very distressing, might raise the stress here. What a beautiful venue that you all have. I'm pleased to be joined by Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture, Dr. Joe French, Whit Tuttle with VisitNC, and my wife, our First Lady, Surrey County girl, Anna Stein. I'm grateful to all the state and local officials who are here today and all the community leaders. I want to thank Nicole Chesney with the North Carolina Wine and Grape Council for all her work in coordinating today's visit. Today we are here to raise awareness on one of North Carolina's treasured but sometimes underappreciated agricultural industry, and that's North Carolina's grape and wine industry. North Carolina's wineries are drawing from a long and time-honored tradition. The wine story of North Carolina stretches back centuries to when Sir Walter Raleigh's explorers first recognized our region for its muscadine grapes back in the 1500s. By the early 20th century, North Carolina was the leading wine-producing state in the country. Today, we are the 10th largest producer of wine in the nation. Our wine industry supports more than 45,000 jobs and contributes more than $7 billion to the state's economy. But the impact isn't just economic. Nearly 200 wineries give towns across this state the chance to celebrate what makes that community unique. They're drawn by craftsmanship and hospitality. 1 million people. We have 1 million visitors who come to North Carolina's wineries each year. And all the wineries are helping to shape the state's agriculture, tourism, and small business growth. So programs like Surrey Community College Viticulture and Enology program, which Anna, the First Lady, and I were able to visit earlier today, they are training students to pursue careers in viticulture, enology, hospitality, and fermentation. Students are learning about vineyard planning and soil health, pest management and microbiology, wine marketing, and business management. And to the wineries like Shelton Vineyards that support programs like these, I want to thank you for investing in the next generation of people who will call this their career. North Carolina's wines attract visitors and put our state on the map, and the vineyards cement our state's agricultural reputation. So I encourage North Carolinians and others to consider visiting and enjoying a North Carolina winery sometime this summer. I want to thank you all for being here, and now it's my pleasure to invite forward my wife, First Lady Anna Stein, who will share more about her initiative promoting rural tourism and North Carolina's wine and grape industry. Anna?
Okay. Good noon, everyone. I don't know if it's morning or afternoon. Thank you, Governor, for the introduction. So one of the great privileges of the role of First Lady is to be able to highlight different parts of our beautiful state. And it's very special to be spending time today in Surrey County, as I was born 12 miles from here in Elkin, and these surroundings very much feel like home to me. I'm a very proud Surrey County native. Josh and I share a deep love for our state and have always enjoyed traveling to small towns in North Carolina, including many in the Yadkin Valley over the years, to find local gems that are off the beaten path. This love of travel and exploration has informed one of my top priorities as First Lady, which is promoting rural tourism. I'm focused on rural areas because tourism is a particularly vital economic driver in rural places. Fortunately, our small towns compete well with our urban areas in a couple of ways. They have an important asset in abundance, which is warmth and hospitality in their people. And they also have, I believe, a disproportionate share of unique natural and cultural treasures. And nothing is more unique than North Carolina's wine and grape industry and the vineyards that are dispersed all around our state. North Carolina is home to 7 AVAs, or American Viticultural Areas, meaning our state has 7 areas with distinct soil and climate conditions that set them apart from surrounding areas and influence how grapes are grown. From the mountains to the coast, North Carolina's nearly 200 wineries offer award-winning wines, ciders, and meads that are grown, harvested, and produced by family-owned, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. North Carolina's wine and grape industry is rooted in rural communities where the majority of the state's small and medium-sized producers operate as family-owned agricultural businesses. They are preserving working farmland, diversifying farm incomes, and creating year-round economic activity in counties that can benefit from additional economic development tools. 93% of visitors who come to tour a winery stay overnight or have an extended stay, which means they're very likely to visit local shops, restaurants, and hotels. This benefits the whole community. So over the coming months, I'll be visiting all 7 AVAs to showcase, and other wines that aren't in our wineries that aren't in our AVAs, to showcase North Carolina's wine and grape industry and to promote tourism in the communities in which they're located. It's not a coincidence that we've started our AVA journey in the Yadkin Valley, where, as I said, I have deep roots. The Yadkin Valley AVA is North Carolina's first established AVA and is home to nearly 50 wineries, including Shelton Vineyards. Shelton Vineyards was founded in 1999 by brothers Charlie and Ed Shelton. Today, their legacy lives on through two second-generation siblings and co-owners, Mandy Shelton Hauser, who we heard from, and Chip Shelton, as they proudly lead the family business into its next chapter. Thank you all for being here as we highlight the vibrancy of North Carolina's wine industry and its importance to our state and local economies. And now please let me introduce Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture, Dr. Joe French, who will talk more about the impact of the wine and grape industry on our state. Thank you.
Thank you, First Lady and Governor, for being here today, and thank you so much to Shelton Vineyards for supplying such a beautiful venue for this event today. Whoever was in charge of weather, you did a great job. Take credit for it while you can. The commissioner sends his regrets for not being able to be here today. He really wanted to be, but there's just things that popped up that he had to attend to as well. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me really quick, and none of you will know this, but for the first 29 years of my career, I was the operations manager at one of our agricultural research stations, of which in the early 2000s, we planted over 45 varieties of vinifera grape at our research station. So I look around here today and I am very familiar with the work that's required to take care of what's here. The planting, the training, the pruning, the spraying, the thinning, and the thing I hated the most, the bird protecting, and then the harvest of the vinifera grapes. It's a very rewarding crop to work with. But when we planted those vines 20 plus years ago, there were only about 50 vineyards in North Carolina. Today, there have been estimated to be more than 400 different vineyards within the state, and that has created over a $7 billion impact to our state and part of our economic industry. Probably, though, the greatest accomplishment that I think our North Carolina wine industry has done is through the innovations in grape production and winemaking technologies. There are now, as it was already mentioned, 7 AVAs designated within North Carolina. With that diversity of AVAs, we have strengths, weaknesses, and many challenges for producing vinifera grape in this state. But technologies that didn't exist 20 plus years ago, like post-harvest drying, have really helped with challenges that we have here in North Carolina of sometimes too much rain, sometimes too much humidity, which is kind of tough for the vinifera industry, have really helped things a lot. But these innovations can only be attributed to the cooperative efforts, and that's what I always admire about when you go to other countries. You don't see this, but the cooperative efforts between programs like our university system, our community college system, like Surrey Community College here has been a huge impact for the grape industry in North Carolina. And the Farm Bureau, and as well as North Carolina Department of Agriculture, and the Wine and Grape Council as well. But the North Carolina Department of Agriculture has a true gem in our marketing department, and the leadership provided by Peter Thornton, I have grown to really respect as a huge part of our economic engine for the state. Peter and I have had a lot of time driving around and traveling from one venue to the other. And I told Peter, because I spent a few years in college, I told Peter, I said, colleges do a tremendous job in teaching you how to produce things, but they don't always do a great job in teaching you how to sell it. The marketing part is typically the hardest part of creating a very successful business. And that's where I admire our marketing department. But when Peter and I have had a great relationship, when our wine specialist position became vacant, and he told me he had found a candidate for that position that had a viticulture degree from France, I knew he was lying to me, okay? We do joke around a bit, and I said, Peter, there's no way, that doesn't happen in North Carolina. As it turned out, it was no joke. He introduced me to Nicole, and we are so fortunate to have her knowledge, enthusiasm, and understanding of the industry to join the Department of Agriculture. And I will say this, several of our research stations are still involved in the Piedmont and Western regions in viticultural trials, working on challenges such as pest resistance, cold hardiness, altitude changes, and in the eastern part of the state, our Castle Hayne Research Station concentrates on muscadine varieties that are used for commercial and organic production. To finish up, I do want to brag about one thing that some of you may not know, and I didn't know until I joined the Department of Agriculture. It's our North Carolina Department of Ag Plant Industry Division. They manage a biological control laboratory that right now is currently working with an organism, and I'm going to slaughter the name of this organism. It's Dryenia sinicus, okay? In Southern English, what that really means is a predatory wasp that appears to be eating and laying eggs on spotted lanternfly. Well, the great thing about that organism is this wasp has the potential to provide the wine industry with a biological control for the spotted lanternfly, which in Dr. Bill Foot's opinion will do a much better job in control of the spotted lanternfly when compared to use of pesticides. So those are just a brief snapshot of some of the things that are going on. One of the things I do like to brag about too, the hat that I wear and I really like to wear around is part of our plant industry, and some of you may not know this. We have detector dog programs, and we have 2 detector dogs that are owned by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture that sniff out spotted lanternflies. So that's just one more aspect that the department is providing to help a beautiful and thriving industry here in North Carolina. With that, I'll close, but I will introduce Will Tuttle, the Executive Director of VisitNC.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody. So I am the head of the State Tourism Office, VisitNC, part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. And I'm here to talk a little about the tourism aspect of it. And I think a lot of people don't realize North Carolina is the 7th most visited state in the country by tourists. So tourism is a huge industry in North Carolina. It employs more than 200,000 people in the state. And what a glorious day to celebrate wine in North Carolina. Now, you would call this a Chamber of Commerce Day, right? I think it should be called a State Tourism Office Day, but we don't get that. I guess it just doesn't roll off the tongue like a Chamber of Commerce Day. But either way, I think this shows you a lot. I've got a lot of statistics I can give you on winery visitors to the state, but the most important thing I think that we've learned at the State Tourism Office is that people love visiting our wineries for the same reason they love visiting our state. It's natural scenic beauty, right? This is natural scenic beauty. And it's also esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem. I think that's a beautiful combination that we have in the winery industry for North Carolina. Our wineries aren't huge factories that mass produce wine. They're family businesses, as we've heard here with the Sheltons, that tell North Carolina stories over a good drink and even better company. They're storytellers who tell authentic stories of the state. It's the way Childress Vineyards makes a fine swine wine, the perfect pairing for the Lexington Barbecue Festival. And Shelton Vineyards created a wine-infused sonker dish that was at the Harvest Grill to support the Surrey Sonker Trail. It's getting involved in the community is what they do. They tell the stories of the place, but they also stand tall when it comes to supporting the place. You know, Childress donates portions of the proceeds from the fine swine wine to the barbecue festival. The Sheltons, as we've heard, you may not know, but they were critical in the development of the Surrey Community College winemaking program. Without them, it wouldn't have happened. And that's enabled North Carolinians to play key roles in the state's growing industry. And that's what makes this wine story so special. These are friendly places that make an intimate connection to where they are and the people that surround them. They tell the story of North Carolina and the history through the wine, the work, and the hospitality. Now, I'm not a wine specialist, I'm in marketing. And in tourism, we gauge value in terms of visitation and spending. North Carolina had $37 billion in visitor spending in 2025. As I said, we're the seventh most popular state in the country. And when we talk about visitation and tourism statistics, our visitation doesn't apply to the local from Mount Airy who goes, to Shelton for dinner or drives over to Hayes Gray to pick up a wine club order. A visitor has to come from either 50 miles outside of where they live, or they have to stay overnight in order for us to consider them in our statistics. And those travelers that we love the most are overnight visitors, as the First Lady mentioned earlier, because they spend more than day trippers do. If you can get someone to stay overnight, you vastly increase the spending and the impact they bring to the local economy. And on that front, we have ample reasons to appreciate wine visitors. I'm going to give you two statistics that I think are huge. I could give you stats all day, but we do a lot of research, and our research shows, and the First Lady brought this up, 93% of the travelers to North Carolina whose trip includes a winery, they stay overnight. Now, that's great, but what you don't know is that 75% of all visitors to the state stay overnight. So that means visitors to North Carolina wineries stay 20% more likely to stay overnight compared to the average visitor. That's a huge additional economic impact for us. And in addition to the wine tasting, the bottles they take home, these overnight visitors spend money on lodging, on meals, shopping, various other things, and that money goes to a good cause. It goes to our workforce and contributing to our state's local and state tax base. So that's huge for us. Now, the second interesting point from our research shows that visitors to wineries in North Carolina rate the perceived value of the trip higher than visitors that don't go to wineries. So visitors who value their trips more, like the winery visitors, are more likely to come back again. And when you combine that greater likelihood of overnight stays with the love of wineries and the satisfaction in their trip, they address two of our primary goals, which are getting visitors to stay longer, spend more, and return sooner. So the winery visitor is our ideal nirvana of a visitor. That's why one of the reasons we love this industry. But we also love it because it's a true homegrown industry, and as you've heard, it's built on innovation, dedication, and ambition to produce wines of the highest quality. It employs men and women across the state, particularly in rural areas, which is so important. You have places like Hayes Gray that does, not only is their name a homage to the military, they do a lot with veterans. They help out in well-paying roles, and it speaks to our agricultural heritage, as you heard Joe talk about, and the authentic way we live our lives here in the Old North State. We are truly inspired by the 7 federally recognized viticultural areas, but the inspiration goes even further when you include the spectacular range of grapes produced here, along with the amazing local honey that's used for mead and the wonderful North Carolina apples that are used for cider as well. It is just the perfect combination. We're proud to promote these outstanding products with the friendly visitor experiences because it leads to great results that you've heard about, and we look forward to even more. And so to all this, we say cheers to everyone. Let's enjoy some North Carolina wine. And I'm not sure if we're going to do questions or not. Nope. Okay. Well, let's just enjoy some wine. That's more fun anyway.